I would like to talk to you today about the omegas. There's omega 3, 6, and 9. And they're actually very important in our diets. They're called essential fatty acids. And omega 3 actually has 3 molecules with double bonds holding the molecules together, which actually creates sort of a semi-letter C shape. So that's what an omega 3 is. An omega 6 retains the shape, but it actually has 6 molecules bonded with double bonds all the way around. And an omega 9 has 9. These are the basic building blocks that the body uses. It's like having Legos, you know, white, red, and blue. And the body uses those and builds them together to make 22 chain fatty acids, 28 chain fatty acids, whatever it might need. But if it's missing any from these piles, it actually cannot use the rest of the omega 6 if it runs out of omega 3. So omega 3s are actually found in both the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom, or the fish kingdom mostly, and it's the highest in fish. So fish is the greatest source of your omega 3s. We also get some from primrose oil, borage, but it's in a little different shape. It has just a tiny difference in the shape of the molecule, and the body does have to modify it, but it is in this family of omega 3. Then omega 6, it's in abundance. It's in olive oil, hemp oil, walnut oil, every type of oil and fat that you can think of from a plant is where we get it. And we get a lot of this in our diet, especially if you're using a Mediterranean style diet or using olive oil, which is a good food, good fat in your diet. You're getting a lot of this and very little of imbalance of the omega 3. Omega 9 is needed in very trace amounts compared to these two. And it is actually one of the best sources is like walnuts, and it is in raw foods that we eat. And we need really very little of this one compared to the other two. So I don't see this one as a whole. But this one, if I had to paint a big black hole in the American diet, it would be a shortage of omega 3s. The omega 3s are a big black hole in the American diet. We simply do not get enough of them in balance with the other fats. So as you read labels, it's very important that you get the most of this particular fat in your diet that you can. So it's learning to read labels that will help you create and maintain the balance that you need in your life to have the correct stacks of amino acids to choose from for the internal repair of many components in your body. If you have an out of balance amount of omega 6, in other words, if this Lego stack was 2 feet tall and this one's only 3 inches tall, the body says, I have way too much omega 6, so I need to do something with it. So what it does with it is actually burns it through an inflammation process. So an imbalance of omega 6 over the other two can actually fuel inflammation in a body. So it's very important that you keep this in mind as you choose your fats and choose wisely. You need at least 2 tablespoons, and if you do your research, it'll tell you 1 to 3 tablespoons of good fats in your diet. And it's very important in our diets to have those. The other issue with the omega 6 is that when you have the leading chain fast food places advertise no trans fats, they have actually switched from trans fats, which look like this, these are trans fats, where what has happened is heat, sunlight, fast mixing, beating, breaks this outside bond that occurs naturally in these fats, and it becomes a single bond molecule that becomes like a straight line. This is called a trans fat, or trans fatty acids. So when our fast food industry is actually switching to omega 6 from these omega trans fats that were straight lined molecules that the body can't use well, what we've done is we've built a pile, an out of balance pile of omega 6, because it's going to be, that's what they're going to use. They're going to use the least expensive, probably mostly canola oil, which is very, very high in omega 6 for a lot of fried foods today, because they are getting away from trans fats, which is good, because trans fats used to cause a lot of free radical damage at the cellular level in the body. But the trans fats, now they're being eliminated, and you'll see less and less on every every label that you read, and even in every place you eat, you're going to see less and less trans fats. Very, very good for our health. But if we're going to have too many omega-6s, we're going to replace this problem area of causing free radical damage. This is going to get replaced with, I have way too much omega-6 compared to the omega-3 in my diet, so I am going to fuel inflammation signs in the body. And so keep that in mind as you choose healthy fats in your diet. And remember, life is about balance.